welcome to this deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be tackling something that I think you've probably been wanting to explore for a while,
Okay.
which is this feeling of not being good enough.
Yeah.
And we're going to do that through the lens of this really interesting beginner English learning podcast
Okay.
called If You Feel You Aren't Good Enough, Watch This.
Mm.
And it's hosted by Leo and Gwen. And honestly, there was some surprisingly deep advice in there.
It is interesting, right? How these feelings can pop up almost anywhere.
Totally.
Even in a podcast that's really geared towards helping people learn English,
Yeah.
speaks to how universal the experience is.
Totally. And right off the bat, they talk about how comparing yourself to others,
Right.
especially with social media and these perfectly curated lives that we see, can totally steal our joy.
Absolutely.
It's like this constant pressure to measure up, and it just leaves you feeling inadequate.
Well, yeah, it makes me think of social comparison theory.
Oh, yeah.
That idea that we're constantly evaluating ourselves in relation to others.
Oh,
And when those comparisons make us feel lacking,
right.
well, there goes the self-esteem.
Yeah.
No wonder we end up feeling not good enough.
It's so true. And it's something that really struck me was when Gwen, the co-host,
Yeah.
admitted that she feels insecure sometimes too.
Right.
She even said, no one feels good enough all the time. Even the people who seem confident have moments of doubt.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like we all put on this facade of perfection, but behind the scenes, everyone's struggling.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really important point.
Yeah.
To remember,
Yeah.
just recognizing we're not alone in these feelings can be incredibly validating.
Absolutely. And they go on to list some signs of feeling inadequate.
Okay.
Like constantly doubting yourself or needing everything to be perfect.
Right.
Or things like people-pleasing and avoiding challenges because you're afraid to fail.
Right.
Does any of this resonate with you?
Oh, I think a lot of us can relate to these signs.
Yeah.
You know, it's that inner critic that takes over and tells you you're not capable or worthy.
Yeah.
So we might find ourselves holding back from opportunities or seeking constant validation from others,
Oh, yeah.
which just reinforces those feelings.
Totally. And then they get to the core message of the podcast,
Okay.
where Leo says, true self-worth doesn't come from what we achieve or how others see us.
Okay.
It actually comes from inside ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's about recognizing your own true value, things like your kindness strengths and the little things that make us unique.
This is so powerful, you know, because we're often conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to what we accomplish, external validation.
Right.
But what if we shifted our focus to recognizing and valuing our inherent qualities, like you said, kindness, strength?
Yeah.
What are those unique strengths and quirks that make you you?
Totally.
It's about recognizing that inherent worth regardless of achievements.
Yeah. And they even go on to share some examples.
Oh, okay.
So Leo talks about how much he loves making people laugh.
Yeah.
And Gwen finds pride in being a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good reminder that our value goes way beyond our resumes
Absolutely.
or our Instagram feeds.
Oh, those inherent qualities, our humor, empathy, our creativity, those are often overlooked, but they're really what make us valuable.
Right.
It's about recognizing the value that we bring just by being ourselves.
Yes.
You know?
And building on that, I love how they emphasize the power of small victories.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're so conditioned to think about, those big milestones. But sometimes it's those small wins
Yeah.
that can really build your confidence and self-worth.
It's like we're playing the long game. Instead of waiting for those big moments of achievement,
Yeah.
we can shift our focus to appreciating the small steps that we take every day.
Right?
It's much more sustainable
Totally.
to build your self-worth that way.
And it's something you can apply to so many areas of life. They
Exactly.
even use the example of just organizing your closet. It might seem like a small thing, but that feeling of accomplishment,
Right.
that sense of order that you create can really boost your mood
Yeah.
and make you feel more capable.
For sure. It's about recognizing those little wins and letting them fuel your motivation,
Right.
that sense of progress that keeps you moving forward.
Now, they also tackle the tricky topic of failure,
Okay.
which can be a huge blow to our self-esteem,
Right.
but they actually encourage us to see it as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. They even say failure isn't the end. It's part of the journey.
Yeah.
Every mistake teaches us something.
Makes me think of the growth mindset.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that idea that our abilities aren't fixed, but they can be developed through effort and learning.
Right.
What better way to learn than from your mistakes?
It's such a shift in perspective.
Totally.
Instead of seeing failure as like a sign of inadequacy,
Yeah.
we can view it as valuable feedback.
Right.
And when we're not so afraid to fail, we're more likely to take risks and experiment and ultimately grow.
It's about building that resilience, that ability to bounce back from setbacks, because failure is a part of life. It's how we choose to respond to it that shapes our self-worth.
And I love how they end on a note of self-compassion.
Okay.
They actually ask their listeners, how can you be kinder to yourself today?
That is such a powerful question.
It is, right?
Because so often we're our own worst critics.
Yeah.
We beat ourselves up over mistakes, compare ourselves unfavorably to others.
Right.
What if we treated ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we offer to our friends?
That's such a good point. It's like we have this inner dialogue that's constantly putting us down.
Right.
But we have the power to change that narrative.
Absolutely. Self-compassion is all about recognizing our shared humanity.
Yes.
We all make mistakes. We all struggle. And it's okay to acknowledge that without judgment.
Totally.
It's about treating ourselves with the same care and concern that we would offer to someone we love.
So we've covered a lot here, from recognizing the pitfalls of comparison to finding value in our unique qualities.
Right.
Celebrating small victories.
Yeah.
Reframing failure.
Yep.
And embracing self-compassion.
Right.
What stands out to you as the most impactful takeaway?
Yeah, it's been so interesting to unpack all this.
It has.
And I think for me, what really hits home is how much our self-worth is tied to like our own internal narrative. If we're constantly putting ourselves down, focusing on our shortcomings, no wonder we feel inadequate.
Absolutely.
But if we can shift that narrative to one of self-acceptance and appreciation, it can really make a world of difference.
And it's not about ignoring our flaws or pretending we're perfect.
Right.
Right? It's about recognizing that we are all works in progress.
Yeah. And those imperfections are part of what makes us unique.
Totally.
And interesting.
So true. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something to ponder.
Okay.
Remember all that talk about identifying your unique strengths and the importance of small victories? Well, here's the challenge for you.
Okay.
What's one small action you can take today to celebrate those strengths and nurture your self-worth?
I love that. Putting it into practice, taking action, instead of just thinking about it.
And it doesn't have to be anything grand or time-consuming. Even small gestures can have big impact on how you feel about yourself.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's spending a few minutes doing something you truly enjoy, something that lets your strengths shine. Or maybe it's simply acknowledging a positive quality you admire in yourself. Whatever it is, make it intentional. Make it a celebration of you.
And as you go about your day, think about the ripple effect of that action. How it might impact not only your own well-being, but also the way you interact with others. Sometimes those small acts of self-care have a really positive impact on the world around us.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
And I hope you found it valuable too. Remember, cultivating self-worth is an ongoing journey.
Absolutely.
Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory worth celebrating.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for joining us on this journey
of self-discovery.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning.
And
most importantly, keep being kind to yourself.